Welcome back to Garza Gaming Channel. Today we're playing Kujira, the new whale god, right? Now, the way this video is going to work is we're going to go ahead and talk about or take a deep dive into this guy's abilities, right? So I'm going to show you pretty much what the abilities look like, and then we're going to discuss the build I'm going to use when this god goes live on day one. And then we're going to go into arena and see this god in action against some hard bots to see if this guy's even going to be feasible to attempt to use in arena. And then we're going to finish out the video with my final thoughts on what I think about this new whale god. So, hey man, did Smite give us a god that's going to be a whale of a good time, or did they give us the Moby Dick and give us a boring freaking lackluster god? I don't know, but we're about to find out. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's first start by discussing this new guy's ability, right? So right at the get-go, let's start with this passive. So with this passive, enemies that hard CC bucket are cursed, right? So if an enemy is already cursed, the duration is actually refreshed and increased in strength. Now, Baki also converts protections from items or abilities into basic attack damage. As we know, this is going to be a basic attack base type god, right? And it also converts attack speed into haste. And what haste is that means that it's going to attack faster, but what that means is it's going to have less of attack, basic attack penalty for movement, right? As y'all know, you move, say, at 100%, but as soon as you start doing your basic attacks, you get that basic attack penalty that makes you move slower, right? So this is going to reduce that slow that you get while you're basic attacking and trying to move at the same time. So that's going to be pretty significant for this huge god, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. And it also says that attack speed and item passives do not benefit from his basic attack. So that means that he's pretty much stuck at whatever attack speed he starts with. He can never gain attack speed, so he can never attack faster. And anything like a Quinn size or Odysseus's bow or something like that, where it has a basic attack type trigger to a damage ability, is not going to work with this guy. So he's kind of like Jurgermonder, right? So his protection conversion, he converts 30% of his protections to his basic attack damage, which is really, really big, man. And attack speed conversion is going to be 1% of haste per 1% of attack speed, right? From ability items or from items or abilities. And then his curse amplification cooldown is 10 seconds. So yeah, so his basic attack damage though is 24 plus 1.5 per level plus 20% of his magical power, which is huge, man. Okay, so let's move on to his very first ability, which is called Rough Waters, right? Now this is going to be a self buff. Now Baki embeds himself with a cursed energy, right? When active, he gains increased basic attack range and reduced movement penalty when he's at basic attacking and moving, right? He also gains a stack of protections for each of the guys that he hits. So basic attack radius doubles pretty much to 20. Protections per stack late game, he's going to get 6 per god that he hits, to a max of 10 stacks. And then movement penalty reduction is going to be sliced in half by 50%. And this is going to last 5 seconds. Now, with no cooldown reduction, it's going to have a 12-second cooldown reduction, whether it be level 1 or max level. So, and that's one thing you're going to see with all his attacks is they don't benefit from points into them in the way of reduction to cooldown for each ability. Each ability has a hard cooldown timer to it. So the only way that you're going to reduce the time is obviously by adding cooldown reduction to items, not adding extra points into it early, if that makes any sense. Okay, so now his second attack, Sonic Wave, right? Now this is going to be a cone type attack. Now Baki sends out a wave of cursed energy. Enemies hit by it are slowed and damaged, right? And then cursed. So enemies that are cursed deal reduced damage for up to 6 seconds. If the cursed enemy is hit by this ability, the slow is doubled and the curse becomes amplified, right? So Baki's basic attacks reduces this ability's cooldown also. So the damage late game is going to be 260 plus some amplification for your magic item power. The cursed damage reduction is going to be 10%. So your enemies are going to be doing 10% less damage, and it's going to be amplified to 20% if they get hit with this while they're cursed. And the slow is going to be 15% reduction or 50% slow for 2 seconds. So that's a pretty a pretty good little attack there. And I can see how that could kind of be used as a way of an escape too, to slow somebody for 15% for 2 seconds so you get the crap out of dodge, right? Now his twisting dive. Now this is going to be a line type dash damage type ability, right? Kind of almost like a Thulu. His Thulu dash, when he goes like that and he does damage as he's going through, kind of like that. But the cool thing about this one is going to actually stun an enemy and bring them with you, right? So this does splash damage at late game up to 175. It does dash damage for 240. So kind of like that Thulu type of dash. But this is going to actually stun enemies late game for 1.5 seconds and bring them with you and land them where you land, right? So that's going to be really, really cool to set up for some really cool combos, maybe with a Cuckoo, where you can just bring them into the whirlwinds, or maybe one of those guys where you heat them with a Hercules and then push them into your base. I mean, there's a lot of cool little, combos that you can do with these working with other god abilities. Now his ult. His ult is kind of unique, right? So what this does is he begins to sing for 5 seconds. So it's going to last 5 seconds. I'm tell you what, 5 seconds goes pretty freaking quick, right? And when he's channeling this ability, he gains bonus attack damage, and he increases his range to 20 again, right? And there's going to be an outer ring from the 20 to 50 range. There's going to be an outer ring that any enemy that's caught in the outer ring kind of gets like an Oleron type effect, right? But in the way of stacks. So the max stacks on this ability is going to be 4, and it's going to be 10% slow for each god per stack. So you can pretty much slow an enemy up to 40%. And from what I understand, this is 40% movement, 40% attack speed, 40% everything. They're just like, it's like moving in jello, right? For up to 40%. So that's pretty interesting. He's also going to give that bonus damage late game of additional of 60% bonus damage. And if you're within 20 units, right, the enemies are going to take additional damage. So they're going to get the 60% plus an additional 15% damage. So he's going to be hitting a lot harder, almost 75% more damage to any enemies that's right around them. So that's going to be pretty interesting. So let's see some of these abilities in action, right? So the first one, like I said, is just a buff. So you hit it, and then you use basic attack. As you can see, he can move pretty quick. And you can see right there above his attack bar or his health bar, where we can see how many protections he gets. Pretty straightforward. Now his cone attack, go forward, does damage, and then puts that debuff on him. His number 3 is straight line dash, where he grabs people and then pushes them with him, right? So you do damage and push, and then his ult is pretty much, you see that outer ring right there, that's the gel, or you can get him closer and do that additional damage. And that's pretty much straightforward. I mean, I wish I can speak more on this, but that's pretty much it, man. I mean, there's really not much to this god, to tell you the truth. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, so we just talked about all his abilities, right? I got a quick look at pretty much of how they work. Like I said, there's not much to this god. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and we're going to talk about the build that I'm going to use for day 1 for this god. Okay, so for today's build, we're going to use Sundering Axe, Shogun's Kisuri, Spirit Robe, Gauntlets of Thebes, Gladiator Shield, and Divine Ruin. I think this build is going to give us a really nice blend of high protections, which is going to give us those really high basic attacks, in conjunction with a little bit of penetration and some nice passive damage. Dude, I don't know how this is going to work out. I haven't tried this god in arena just yet. We're going to try it here shortly with this build, but I can tell you, in the jungle, he felt a little sluggish. I'm really worried on how this god is going to work with all the chain CC that we normally see in arena. So adding a little bit of passive damage, I think is going to give his basic attack just a little bit extra punch, right? But we're going to see how this works. But hey, man, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on notifications. We tend to put out videos weekly, and we're now streaming live every Tuesday at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube, and every Sunday at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, right? Again, right here on YouTube. Okay, so here we go with Bakasuria. Is this build gonna work for us? I don't know, but we're about to find out. Let's get into it. Okay, so here we go with the first look at Baki Kujira, and we're sporting our Reaper colors, baby. You know we had to do that. Now, this is the new whale god that Smite just introduced, right? And I can tell you, I have some reservations on this guy, but we'll see how this is going to work out. I still got that starter item bug, so we're going to go ahead and manually select our stuff. You know, let's go with some beads. And then I think that the cooldown is probably going to work best for his recipe, to tell you the truth, so we'll go with that. Now, I do have some reservations on this guy from the simple fact he's a point-blank basic attack type god, right? And I think that those type of gods, as we've seen with Cerberus, are very difficult to use in arena. But we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see how this guy works out. Maybe he'll surprise us, right? Now, I can tell you he's a little big, so you're definitely going to be a huge target for hunters. Now, keep in mind, today we're playing against hard bots. Don't worry about how many times I kill somebody or how many times I die or how much damage we do. Today is all about feeling how this god works in arena and how fluid his attacks are going to be. And if he's going to even be feasible to even attempt to use in arena, right? That's what we're going to do today. Now, the cool thing about this god is he does steal protections from the enemy. So that's going to help out early game, especially. Or he gains protections, I should not steals, but gains protections from the enemy. Okay, what's going on here? So that should help out to beef him up early game. Now, I can tell you he can be picked up by Xing Shang for sure. I played one game prior to this guy, and I saw that I was able to be picked up by Xing Shang. And that's pretty much the only crazy guy. Oh, he can be executed, of course. And that's by Achilles. And that's pretty much everything I've seen thus far, to tell you the truth. Alright. Oh my goodness. Ay, and this is exactly what I was worried about, to tell you the truth, man. You have to be right up on gods in order to do damage. Even his 2 is a very short range type attack, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the only thing that you have that might have anything in the ballpark of range is going to be his dash. And realistically, you're gonna need that dash for an escape. I mean, truth be told. Now, with a little bit of practice, I'm sure that, you know, things will work out better, but I can tell you right now, while he does seem fun, he looks really, really cool. Oh man, from what I'm seeing so far, I think we're going to have a heck of a time trying to play this guy in arena. So, but we'll see, we'll see. Now, I can't tell you his number 3 is going to be your lifeline for escape, man. That's going to be your lifeline for escape. Now, I can tell you that I wish that they would have gave his number 1 a movement boost. Even if it would have been starting at 5%, 10%, 15% movement speed under that buff, to get that movement speed buff, I think that would have been better. I think that's what they missed the boat by not giving this one some type of movement speed, even if it was only 10% movement speed. I feel that from what I've seen so far, it just feels like he's missing something, man. It feels like he's really missing something. At least for arena. Like I said, I don't know how he's gonna, you know, work for Conquest. And Conquest, he might be fine. And you guys know, man, all these gods are designed around Conquest. You know, us arena players, we're like the last stop in anybody's mind, right? But it's all good. It's all good. Are gonna want to build him tanky, dude. I can tell you right out of the get-go, you're gonna want him to build him tanky. Because if not, you're gonna be struggle busting for sure. Now, the fact that we build him pretty much tanky with a little bit of passive damage, I think is going to allow us to you know, at least do some type of damage. We're not, I mean, we're not gonna cop the damage cap or the damage, you know, the top damage scores, but you know, at least we'll be able to do a little bit of damage. I can tell you though, I am not a fan of having to be at point blank with the enemy like that. It's horrible, dude. It's freaking horrible. I wish they would have gave him, like I said, a movement speed buff on his one, like almost like a cuckoo type. I think would have been a very welcome addition and made this guy a little bit better to play, to tell you the truth. Now I do like the fact that you get extra protections, because that helps out a bunch. And like I said, dude, I'm just a noob to this guy. Who knows? With a little bit more practice, he might grow on me more. And I can tell you right now, if there's any of y'all that are like Guardian mains or Warrior mains, dude, you might love this guy. You know what I'm saying? You guys know I'm not much of a melee player. I usually play range type gods, but you know, we gotta try everything. We can't just stay in our safe house, right? We can't just stay comfortable. Oh, he can be knocked up. That's good to know. He can be minion blocks. That's good to know. Yeah, this is very difficult, dude. Very difficult. All right. Yeah, you're definitely good. I definitely recommend building him Hellas tank. Tell you the truth. Get behind this guy into the fountain. I mean, you're literally gonna be just swimming around, holding your freaking basic attack down. Really. Now that was interesting. I was able to use my dash while my ult was still going. So that's going to be really nice for combos. Yeah, he needs some type of movement speed buff, dude. They really need to revamp this guy or update him and give him some type of movement speed on this one, to tell you the truth. If they did that, you wouldn't feel so helpless. Now don't get me wrong, his 3 is really nice too. And it's definitely needed, I can tell you that. And actually, to tell you the truth, late game, he doesn't feel too bad at all. Late game, he seems like he's alright. He seems a hell of a lot more beefier. Now that I'm getting my protections and mitigations up.
Triple kill.
See, if you would have just, with this one, gave him a little bit of a movement buff. I mean, I think that would have been awesome.
They have shown their cowardice already.
Just so you don't have to always use your 3, you know what I'm saying?
You must find stronger allies.
See, that would have given him a little movement speed buff. I think that's, realistically, I think that's the only thing this guy is lacking for what he is, right? If you'd had a little bit of a movement speed buff, I think with this one, I think he would have been alright. Yeah, see, he's gonna be a CC freaking magnet, dude. Now you can't use your 3 through walls, but you can use your 2 through walls. So that's kind of cool. Now the cool thing too is this number 2 comes off cooldown pretty quick, because remember, every time you use your basic attack, it takes a second off his 2 count. So that's pretty cool too. Now you will be able to use body blocking techniques. I can tell you that. Oh, look at that! They just moved me right into their base.
Just another dish.
So you will be able to use body blocking type techniques. Well, of course, be careful when you go into their base because you can see he can get pulled with Bassette's ult, as we just found out the hard way. So he can be picked up. He can be. So that tells me that he's going to be susceptible to all the gods. You know what I'm saying? Ares, Daji, Niza, all the pickup gods. He should be affected by their abilities. Holy moly, dude.
Has just begun. The killing spree has just begun. There are still many more foes to slay. An enemy has been slain.
The fact he has AoE type of attack really helps out for his basic. That's going to really help out with minion clear or big actual team fights. But yeah, I'm telling you right now, dude, if you don't build this guy really heavy protections, you're going to have a bad day. You're just going to have a bad game, man. Especially as you're learning this guy. Now, late game, you might be able to get away with trying to build this guy, straight up damage. But there's no way, dude. I'm telling you right now, this guy is he's built to be a tank. He is a well tank.
Double kill.
He's designed to be a well tank for sure. Alright.
The killing spree has just begun.
Alright, got our full build. Let's add a little bit more attack power, see how that comes out. Let's go. Okay, so I went at her with my thrust, and that did not make me immune.
You must find stronger allies.
All right. Oh yeah, that passive damage really helps out, dude. Really helps out. You see how that the shield, and in addition to the divine ruin, is really helping out. Very nice, very nice.
Just begun.
Like I said, this guy is going to take some getting used to. He's going to be very difficult to use in arena. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. I'm not going to BS you, dude. He's going to be very, very, very hard to use in arena because of all the chain CC. But we saw in the last two streams how bad the chain CC teams are in arena right now, and those teams are going to eat your lunch playing this game, especially in a pug group where you're probably not going to have that much support. If you play this god, I believe, especially if you're a Capri main, I think you're going to be all right with this god because he kind of reminds me of a Capri in his movement and his inability to get out of damage. Right, he has that. How Capri has that lunge is pretty much very similar to this god. This god kind of reminds me of a Capri type guardian. Right. So with that said, what are my thoughts on this? So my thoughts is that it's a very cool looking god. It's very interesting, right? I do not know how he's going to work in the other modes. He might just excel in freaking Conquest, right? But I'm telling you right now that I'll be very surprised if many players end up playing this god after the first or second week of his release, because I truly believe that he doesn't have enough benefit to a arena team. And I think that he's just going to be very susceptible to chain CC, and he's just going to make trying to play this guy very aggravating in arena. But hey, man, like I said, I could be wrong. And keep in mind that I main mostly range type gods, right? I'm not a melee type player, although I do play every melee god there is. I don't choose to. Those are not my comfort zones, right? So if you are a melee type player that mains guardians and warriors, hey man, maybe you'll love this guy. In fact, after you try him for a while, man, come back and let me know what you think in the comments of this video. I'd really like to hear your feedback on him, right? And I would really definitely like to see how you build them. You know, if you're an arena melee main, let me know how you build them and how he worked for you. I personally think that this build is going to work out beautifully for my playstyle for the simple fact I'm going to get max CC protection, which we're going to need for this god, right? Plus, you're going to get, you know, over 263 physical protections, 233 magical protections. Plus, you're going to get that mitigation, damage 15% managed mitigation if you do get CC, right? So that's really going to come into play also because, like I said, you're going to be a sitting and duck. But I really enjoy having that passive damage in that Sundering Axe and that Gladiator Shield and Divine Ruin to give you a little bit more of a punch, so you don't feel so silly, man. Just it's like trying to hit, you know, people with a stick everywhere you go. But anyway, let's not drag this on. So that is our new Bake Kujira or whatever you say his name, the Whale God build, right? Or look into him, right? So what do you think about this new god, man? Do you like him? Do you think that he's gonna be a well of a good time, or do you think that we got Moby Dick by Smite with a buster type god? Hey man, put it down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your feedback on it. Again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and don't forget we're streaming every Tuesday at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube, and every Sunday at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube. And if you're ever looking for some really cool people to play with, man, don't forget about our Discord. I got an invite to the Discord description of any of our videos and our website, garzagaming.com. Man, our Discord is made up of some of the most awesome gamers from all around the world that not only play Smite, but you can find people in there that play any single game invented in the world, right? Toxic free environment, man, family safe. Just come check us out. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm Dark Garza, your OG on the GC. See you next time.